Namaste, everyone. I'm Mike Hankey, the U.S. Consul General here in Mumbai, and it's my pleasure to welcome you into my house. And today we're going to answer a few questions from people that wrote in on social media in the last few weeks. First up, we have Alia, who asks, can I say hello in 5 different languages? Let's see, I do Kaise ahat, tumhe sagde, kemcho, Vanakkam, Assalamu alaikum, bonjour. Those are just a few of them. I hope that gets at least some of our viewers on this video. Vishesh asks, can you show us around your house? Of course, let's go. So let me show you around a few rooms in my house. This is one of my favorites. This is where we welcome people from across the whole cultural and religious and social diversity that is India. In this room, I've welcomed LGBTQI activists, women working on women's entrepreneurship and a greater role in the workforce, civil society activists, and really working to learn from all of them about the diversity that is India and where we can partner to build an inclusive society for both of our countries. Over here, maybe we can get to a few more questions. There's one that we've got here from Connor, who asks, which books have I read for a better understanding of India? And I've kept a few of them here. This one is my very old and tattered, nearly 3-decade-old copy of the autobiography of Gandhi. I got it when I was first a student here, and it's, as I like to say, a well-loved book because I've kept it and read it, and I think really learned a lot from it. Another one that made a big impression on me, I have enjoyed reading the poems of Rabindranath Tagore over many years, and the Gitanjali, I think, is a great collection that the world recognized in the way that he was recognized with a Nobel Prize for Literature. And then finally, this one I've just started recently, and I'm about halfway through it, The Palace of Illusions by Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni. And it's the great Indian epic, the Mahabharata, told from a female perspective. And it's a different take on that classic epic. I haven't finished it yet, so I haven't made any judgments. I'm really curious, what do you think? If you've read this or if you've heard about it, let me know on social media. What do you think about that book and your perspective on that question? Another question that I got here is from Krishna. And Krishna asks, can I recommend any 3 books that have made an impact on my life? It's an interesting question because for me, there's so many books I've read over time. One of the first ones that I thought really stuck with me is a classic of war, which is called All Quiet on the Western Front. And it really deals with the questions of the fundamental inhumanity of war and the difficulties that war can present. Another one that I read when I was quite young was an autobiography of a famous American baseball pitcher named Nolan Ryan, who continued well into his 40s to outperform people who were even less than half his age. And I think there's a certain inspiration in that about what people can do at any age. And then also a third one that I read more recently is the science fiction book The Martian. And I really enjoyed The Martian for the good storytelling, but also the way that it works with science and the application of science to specific problems, maybe problems that we face throughout the world or in our daily lives. Let's head over to the next room now for the next question by Ashish. So Ashish asks, how was my experience at Garba Night? I guess Ashish was watching our social media. He saw that I went up to see Falguni Pathak in Borivali during Navratri. It was really great fun. I got to admit, I am not the best dancer, but it was really nice to be welcomed into a few different circles. People I didn't know, they'd come with their friends, their family, just to enjoy the nights, and taught me a few steps. I have enjoyed the whole last 3 months that I've been here. I came in right around the time of Nowruz, the Parsi holiday. I also got to see and celebrate Mawlid an-Nabi with our Muslim friends, Navratri and Diwali with our Hindu friends, and it's been amazing to see the whole range of festivals. I look forward to many more. You've got some Christian festivals coming up. You have Holi in the spring, Pongal for everyone that's celebrating that. It's going to be a really exciting year. Here's the next question. Benz wants to be a diplomat too. and asks what advice I might have for her. Well, look, I fundamentally think diplomacy is really important because it's a way that people get to understand each other. They get to know each other. They have to understand each other's motivations. So I think fundamentally, one of the best things that you could do to prepare yourself is just think about communication. How can you communicate with others? How can you make sure that you are clear in your communication, but also to understand other people's perspectives and motivations? And I think learning what people care about, learning where they're coming from, for me, that both makes you better at the job of being a diplomat, but it's also fundamentally just more enjoyable too. Let's see, the next question here is from Anurag, who asks, what's the best and the worst part about being a diplomat? Like I was just saying, one of the best parts is just getting to know people, getting to see how people live their lives, the expertise that they have, the things that they really enjoy to do in a different way than what I might have known and where I came from. And then one of the hardest things is the opposite side of that coin, which is once you've built up these relationships every few years, you have to move. And you have to move on, break those relationships, or at least not see people quite as often. That's tough. Now, the next question from Franz. Franz asks, do you have a treasured object that you carry with you across missions from embassy to embassy? Well, come on with me. There's some things I want to show you. If we could just come over this way, there's not really one specific object that I like more than another. I was just saying, really, for me, the best part of this job, the best part of this career is getting to know people. Yet, nonetheless, there are a few things I've got here in this room that I really like because they remind me of some of those personal relationships, some of those things that I did. So up here on the wall, you can see I've got a few license plates. And for me, it's been a fun collection to bring a license plate for each one of the countries that I'd worked in. And when I get to the next country, make a nice frame with some photos that remind me of the people who I got to know and the experiences that I had there. It also helps that the license plates themselves, they're not very big, they're not very heavy, so I can take them pretty easily from one place to another. Now, Nayanika asks, we heard that you spent some of your high school days in India, and what did you study and where? That's a great question. Come on with me out this way so I can give you an answer. So, in this hallway here, you've got a poster that I picked up when I was in high school. I actually got this in Chennai, but I had studied at Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan in Coimbatore in Tamil Nadu. And I was on a high school exchange program, lived with a wonderful Tamil family, and got a lot of very good, deep friendships with people across Tamil Nadu and Kerala. And I picked up this poster at that time from the wonderful temple down in Madurai. And then also, when I was living in Tamil Nadu, there was a very kind woman who trained me in a few artistic styles, and I would go visit her house every week. Once a week I would get in there. It was Pankaja Mami, and she taught me how to do this painting on glass. So through her skill, I was able to do this painting of Ganesh that starts with the glass level and then moves backwards. I had to work on about once a week over about 6 months, and I finally got it. It's probably not that valuable as an artistic object, but it means a lot to me just for having that relationship with her and the experience that I had getting it ready. I've got a lot of other art down this hallway, a lot that means something to me. This is one of my favorite poets, the Palestinian poet Mahmoud Darwish, and I had commissioned in Jerusalem an Armenian friend who did the ceramics for this. I had made this one for my wife and her love of coffee. And then this here is a painting by a neighbor of ours where I live and where I'm from in Virginia, the western part of the state of Virginia in the United States. And this is the Shenandoah River Valley, which is a beautiful area to go to. And I hope if you get to the United States, you could see it someday. And then finally, this one by Abduladim Adhaman, who is from the minority Islamic sect in Saudi Arabia, the Shia community. And he had done this as an expression of his vision and perception of America and American ideals of freedom and democracy and what that meant to him. So I've carried a lot of this art with me as I move around the world, because I think it each reminds me of a person and a place that I really treasured. Let's keep walking. We're gonna head towards one of my favorite parts of the house right now, down towards the kitchen. Come on with me. All right, so welcome to one of my favorite parts of the house, the kitchen here. I certainly enjoy some good meals and some good food. We've got some questions on that. Apurva asks, what's the spiciest dish I've tried in India? Now I gotta say, I have a very high tolerance for spice, so there's not really any Indian food that's too spicy for me. I remember once, nearly 30 years ago, at that time eating some chilies and chapatis in a small roadside stand outside of Nagpur. Those were pretty spicy. And sometimes bitter gourd can be spicy. But in general, most Indian food I just find very flavorful. And certainly as I've gotten to know Gujarati food, that's almost sweet. So it's been fun to try all these different ones. Gwenda asks, what's my favorite cafe in Mumbai? I suppose if you're thinking about Irani cafes, it'd probably be Leopold's, although I haven't gotten around to try all of them, so I'd like to try some more. If you have any recommendations, please let me know. I gotta admit, all this talking about food makes me kind of hungry, and so I've got one of my favorite snacks here. If you want to see just some good bel puri, which is always nice, and a good tumbler of chai. The nice way to do it, which I like, you gotta make sure it gets cooled off in the tumbler, and it's kind of fun to pass it back and forth as well until it's cool. Now, the bel puri, I love. It's a little bit of sweet, a little bit of savory, a little bit of crunchy. Wow. Bit of masala chai. It's great. You can't beat that. The chai and bel puri combination. So, we're about on our last stretch of questions. I can't sit here and eat the bel puri all day. Come on with me. We'll get through to some more questions. All right, we're on our last set of questions, and I think we can get through them here in the dining room. Shivang asks, can you sing one line from your favorite Bollywood song? Well, it reminds me that when my kids were little, I would sing them a lullaby, try to get them to sleep. And one of the favorite ones that I sang is from Raja Hindustani that I had learned when I was a student here. I'm sure many of you know it. Pardesi, pardesi, jana nahi, muche chode ke. And I have to think that probably it was because of my bad singing voice that they never went to sleep, but I would always try anyway, and I thought it had a nice melody to it. You should send me clips of what your favorite songs are if you want to. Now the next question, Jaydeep asks, what are my top 3 holiday spots in India? That's a hard one because there's so many great places. I do love Kannur. I got to know Kannur quite well, and to be up in Kannur near Uti and all different seasons of the year, that's a lot of fun. I like Cochin a lot because proximity to the water, the different cultures that mix there. I've always enjoyed Amritsar and everything that Amritsar has to offer. It's such a rich and vibrant place in Punjab. And then the hills and the mountains in Himachal Pradesh are absolutely stunning. And I know that's 4, you told me 3, but India's a big country, so I'm gonna take 4 on that one. Somil asks, which sports do I like to play? Look, when I was here as a student, I learned how to play kabaddi, and I enjoyed kabaddi. I think it's fascinating. It's a pro sport now here in India, so that's kind of fun to play, but also to watch. I do like to play a bit of cricket, and I long ago had to make that transition from baseball to cricket, but I enjoy it, and I enjoy watching the matches, whatever their length is. For myself, if I had to choose, it's usually just for me running and cycling and swimming. But I like any good competition. Now, Sunny asks, as the new CG, what are my focus areas going to be? Well, you know, the focus areas that I have, they match the focus areas for our entire mission here across the embassy and the 4 US consulates all around India. And really with a specific focus here in Western India, we're looking at how to boost the economy, whether that's through ties in higher education or women's workforce participation. We're looking at how to build the economy of the future to meet the challenges that we all share, like climate change through green energy and clean energy. We're looking at what we can do to build security between both of our countries and to build inclusive societies. That's really where we focus on. Tushar asks, what's my favorite spot in Mumbai city? Well, there's a lot of places. The ones that I like are those ones where you can see people and how they live and what they do. I've really enjoyed in a few months here getting to see different performances at the NCPA. Everything from theater to literature, classical Indian music and dance, Western performances. It's a really nice place to see that full range of culture. I've enjoyed going to Juhu Beach and just seeing Indians of every different background enjoy the sunset and the shots right there on the beach. I've enjoyed as well going and seeing in Lower Parel all these areas that used to be textile mills converted into art spaces, and restaurants and cafes. I think it's a really nice metaphor just for the dynamism and the energy that you can get here in the city of Mumbai. Venkatesh asks, have I visited any heritage sites in Aurangabad? Well, I haven't been to Aurangabad yet. I plan to. I really look forward to getting up there. I've met some friends from Aurangabad and they've invited me to come. If any of you would like to send me recommendations for places to go in Aurangabad or other cities, I welcome hearing from you. Ritu asks, which Bollywood films would I recommend to my friends in the US? So the films that I would recommend are probably those romantic dramas from the 1990s that I really loved. So Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam, Raja Hindustani. These were some of the ones that I really loved. Also, I remember at the time watching a lot of films in Tamil. I thought Iruvur was a really good and interesting movie and also had a great soundtrack. Connor asks, have I tried any authentic Maharashtrian food? Well, for a long time, one of my favorite foods was pav bhaji. And I think that's a Mumbaiker's favorite there, getting the pav bhaji. There's a lot of other dishes that I think I still have to try. But some of the other ones I've loved. I've loved vada pav, which is great. There's a whole range of different ones. So I look forward to getting some more over the next 3 years. And Ronak asks, what are some of my hobbies? Well, come on outside. I'll talk about one more. So talking about different hobbies that I have, I certainly like to get out to these cultural events I was telling you about. I certainly like to go to sporting events and competitions. I like to engage in sports myself. I like to read. You saw all those books that I was talking about. When I've got some time, I also like to garden. And you can see here some of the ones that my family and I have been working on. Some plants that we knew, zucchini and sweet peas. Also, we're trying some bottle gourd for the first time. We got some seeds from Pune and really looking forward to seeing how those turn out. Look, we only have time for this many questions today, but it's really been my pleasure to talk with all of you, share with you my home and some of these interests of mine. I look forward to hearing from all of you about your interests and what you're into. As I said, it's really my pleasure to make these kind of connections. So I hope over the next 3 years, I'm able to make these kind of connections with you here in Mumbai, across Western India, or in other places around the country. For today, that's all we've got time for though. Jaldi milenge.